there wasn't a single other competitor around. Only the police car trailing behind me, and I could hear the occasional squawk, which was indicating that I was pulling up the rear of the professional men's field at the Boston Marathon. It was such a unique experience. I mean, I knew I was one of the slowest guys in the field as a Masters runner. They let in 7 to 10 Masters runners, and my prep hadn't gone well. But to be out on that course all alone with just tens or hundreds of thousands of fans still out there cheering after the men's pro field had gone by, but still waiting for the main waves to come through. So they were just anxious to have somebody else to cheer for. And man, they gave it to me. I remember coming through Wellesley, the famous Scream Tunnel, and it sure lived up to its name that day. There was this group of girls all covered in war paint, and as a pro you get your name on the front of your bib, and they were just laying into me like, "You got this, you're killing it, Lawrence!" And it was just so motivating and so much fun. I'll never forget that day. It had been a long journey to get there. Just in January, I was having a real hard time running and couldn't put together consecutive days. I was having some piriformis syndrome issues and a lot of like numbness and weakness on my left side, in my hip and in my glutes. And I just had to totally revamp all my training. And to be honest, I might have thrown in the towel if I hadn't gotten that invite in November from the elite athlete coordinator inviting me to the race, which to me was just an opportunity that I couldn't miss at 45 years old at the time. I thought there was a chance this might be the only opportunity I have. So I was gonna do everything I could to seize that opportunity. So I had to change my whole approach to getting ready for the race. You know, typically I'm looking for the ways for me to maximize my fitness and be as fit as I possibly can on race day. But this time around, it was more about how do I get to the start line and how do I get there in one piece. And so my time allocation really changed as I had additional time that came up. You know, instead of doing more cross training or more running, it was all about more rehab and trying to take care of my body to make sure that I could put in the work I needed to get to that start line. And that, a lot of that has stuck with me. You know, some of the routines I picked up during those tough times have, I believe, kept me going strong as a couple of years have gone by since then. You know, I actually feel stronger and healthier, and it's almost certainly because of the extra work I'm doing in, what was rehab and now it's turned into prehab because things are going okay for the most part. So what had in the past been a lot of additional miles transformed into additional time on the elliptical with low impact, additional time spent doing leg exercises, a lot of one-legged exercises to be able to isolate one leg, a lot of adductor and abductor strength work and flexibility work. That's kind of when I started doing a lot of the myofascial release work that has become a normal part of my routine now. I also had to change how I thought about the race. I love running in packs, but I knew that wasn't going to be an option on race day, and I was well aware that I was going to be out on that course all alone. And so that was a big adjustment to try and concentrate for the full 2.5 hours without having the opportunity just to tuck in and kind of take a little bit of a mental break once in a while. But I think it helped control the emotions. I sometimes have a tendency to get caught up in the excitement and go too fast, and that didn't happen this year. It was a struggle to keep the pace, even in the early portions of the run, and I think that kept things in check, because by late in the race, I was still pretty fresh in the legs, unlike I usually am at Boston. I remember at 22 miles, I've been coming over Heartbreak Hill and past Boston College, and coming down those hills, which can usually be a killer, my legs still felt like they had a lot of juice, and like I knew I was going to finish this up, and I was going to do it in a time that I could be proud of. You know, I ended up running 2:28, which isn't my best time, but for me, considering the circumstances, you know, I felt like I really killed it on race day, even if the preparation didn't go as well as I'd hoped. So, you know, for a race that I had contemplated, you know, whether or not I could do it, turned into just being one of the highlights of, you know, of my running journey. To that point, running for me had been largely revolving around setting PRs and running fast times, and you know, that experience really changed things for me, and it became more about how do I solve this new puzzle? How do I figure out how I can get to the start line and run a race that I can be proud of, and you know, not put myself in that elite field and to totally embarrass myself. And you know, I just, even though it wasn't my fastest time, just really happy with the way things worked out, and really happy with some of the new lessons I learned related to, you know, treating my body well and giving it the chance to recover. Today I've got another 20 plus mile day. I'm out in this winter wonderland for my 2.5 mile warm up, and then I'm going to do 2 by 2 miles at Lactate threshold. Based on how things went last week, I'm increasing my assumed fitness level. Things went pretty well last week, so I'm gonna try to run those at 5:28 mile pace. Then I do a steady to easy 9 miler, and then go back to doing a 3 miler again at Lactate threshold pace, and then cool down another couple miles. The rest of it I'm going to do on the treadmill. So that's the first of the two milers that I just finished. The treadmill goes 5:27, not 5:28, so I had to adjust. Heart rate stayed pretty low, 145. I was only in that for like 11 minutes, so I didn't really get a chance for it to elevate. So we'll see how it reacts for the second interval. All right, so that's the two milers done. Second one was okay. My heart rate was around 147. So we'll see how it goes for the last 3 miler, but feeling pretty good about that heart rate, given that I have to pace a little bit. I got the 9 miler right now. I'm going to try to use this opportunity to get a bunch of hills in here. And really, I think the point here is just to beat up my legs a little bit for that last 3 miler.
Ain't so bad, ain't so bad, ain't so bad. Come on, ain't so bad. Yeah, no. Come on, you must be crazy or something. I'm crazy.
And see how my body tolerates doing a 3 mile lactate threshold run, after putting in a pretty good quantity of work. I'm halfway done the 9 miler right now. I've been alternating between running it at 6:11 pace at 0% incline and 7:13 pace at 3.5% incline. In theory, these should be about the same amount of effort. It seems I'm not as strong on the hills because it definitely feels harder on the uphill sections, even though I'm slowing it down. But I think it's having the right training effect. When I'm finished with this, I'll have 15 miles in, and then I'll start the 3-miler at lactate threshold. And that's kind of the crux of the workout. You know, pretty much anyone can run a hard 2 or 3 mile lactate threshold run. But doing it when you've got some serious miles on your legs is the big difference maker, in my opinion.
I did 2 hours on the elliptical on Sunday, and I didn't capture any video, but it looked something like this.
We've got some snow over the last few days, and so the trail's pretty slippery. It's no big deal. I just go a bit slower, and I usually don't pay much attention to my pace on these off days. Probably get 7 in this morning, and depending on how much time I have, I might try to do another run at lunch or in the evening. My legs feel good though. A week ago, everything was so tight, and today things feel quite a bit better. I've been nervous about this workout for a little while. Right now I'm doing my 4-mile warm-up. Actually, the workout called for a longer warm-up, but kind of getting short on time. And I'm always tempted to cut the corner on my prehab and my pre-run routine. But, you know, as I discussed before, I sort of made a pact with myself that that's something I would keep in there. And if something was gonna give, it would have to be in the miles. So that was the case today. I still did my 20 to 22 minute prehab work and that kind of stuff, and just had to cut the warm up a bit. I'll probably do about 4 miles warm up here. And then we get into the 5 by 1 mile, which maybe doesn't sound intimidating, but to me it is. You know, like a 16 miler at marathon pace with some lactate surges in there. That's kind of normal for me. But when you start getting into the faster stuff, that's just when it's, you know, it's a little bit more painful, which makes me nervous. So this will be fun. I'm gonna be shooting for 5-minute pace. I get a nice 4 minutes rest in between. All right, that's the first one done. It was tough. Definitely 5-minute pace is a bit of a stretch. My heart rate was around 149, which I suspect it'll get higher on the next one. Usually it takes a bit of time at that high effort to get it up for me. So I've got 4 minutes. I'm about 2 minutes into my rest right now, so my breathing's back under control. You know, one of the different things about these interval workouts is that I'm working hard enough that I can't talk. So I know on some of the other workouts I can talk in the middle of it, but I don't think I'll be too conversational in the middle of 5-minute pace. You know, maybe in April, a little bit better, but right now I'm sucking wind. So 4 to go. This will be fun. All right, I got 1 to go. Looks like I'm going to be able to make it through this workout, which is nice. I think I don't know. It seems like every year the fast workouts tend to get a little bit harder and harder relative to the longer ones. But I think for me that means sort of stresses the importance of them. You know, I think there's a natural tendency for your VO2 max to go down over the years, and So I certainly don't want to ignore that aspect of my running. And these are the kinds of workouts that really help to keep the VO2 max up or to elevate it. Kind of another slippery day out here. So I'm just taking it easy out here, but Ellie, my dog, gives her a chance to get a run. She's been cooped up a little bit, so this is good for her. And it's kind of nice out anyways. It's a little bit warmer and it's a nice change from the treadmill. After my run, I did some strides today. I actually like doing strides on the treadmill. I think that's actually the kind of forces you to do them what I think to be the right way, which is to kind of just gradually ease into the top speed of it. Obviously the treadmill doesn't go from 0 to sprint instantly, which I think is the right way to do strides. I've been alternating between 12.5 miles per hour, which is 4:48 pace, and 7.5 miles per hour, which is 8-minute pace. And just basically 200 on, 200 off. It's really not a 200-meter stride because it takes the treadmill, probably 40 meters or so to get up to speed. So it's probably like a 150 stride or so. So this is an easy way to get an extra mile at the end of the run. And I actually always find that my legs feel better the next day. I haven't been doing them as much as I should. My normal routine is to do some box jumps after my easy runs. But I think I'll maybe start inserting the strides a little bit more in place of the box jumps. I think they both have similar goals, just to improve power, keep my legs more nimble. Today's Friday at the end of my training week. We're 3 weeks into this block and things are starting to settle in a bit. I started at like 75-ish miles for these first 3 weeks, which was a bit of a jump from when I was taking my time off. I was probably doing 55 to 60. And combined with the additional workouts, those first 2 weeks, my legs were feeling it. Actually mostly the second week. The first week, I don't think the volume had a chance to catch up on my legs, but last week they were pretty tight and sore. But they're feeling pretty good this week, and I think I'm all set going into another big workout tomorrow. Hope to see you then.